Okay, so this is a demonstration for what I would consider to be an entry-level route for any percent for Crash Twinsanity. Now, before I begin, I do want to say, number one, I'm going to assume that you all know the tricks. So I will deliberately slow down to show certain steps or explain certain things that I think are important to know. But otherwise, like, this isn't really a tutorial, it's a demonstration. Number two is, no, these strats are not necessarily super easy. They will still be tough to learn, but I believe that somebody who has maybe already learned another route, or has at least been running the game for maybe a month or something, will probably be able to pull this route off. Without further ado, let's get into it. Oops, I did that. Okay, so the whole idea of this route is to collect lives to make sure that when you are doing Antagony as Crash plus Cortex, you don't game over, because when you are in the cursed warp state, the game is going to crash if you hit a loading screen. And loading screens include gaming over. So that's the reason behind this route. Let's get a little more into the meat and potatoes. So the first thing is we all know about nut skip. See how when you cross this chunk load, which you may or may not be able to see the chunk line, the nut is intangible when you cross that line. So what happens if the nut's a little too far out of reach? Well, you could just simply do that and push it back. And if it's too far back, you can try to spin while moving out of the chunk load, and it might work. It's more out of desperation, but I just thought it was important to know. So we're collecting Wumpa here just to grab an extra life. So normally in the faster strat we would have 6 lives at this point, but we have an extra one because we stopped for Wumpa. The next thing is a very old Totem Hokum skip that is no longer utilized. And you jump onto this bale of hay, then you jump onto this tree, and then you jump up here. There you go. And you see there is an invisible wall here. You want to move your camera just like this, and then jump around everything. There you go. Now if you find yourself falling, what you need to do is either, just like in my PB, you do a spinning body slam up here, or if for whatever reason you're struggling with that, you can do this one. I'm not sure why you would ever do this body slam, but it's there if you want to try it out. I recommend not doing it, but I'm still showing you it. So I have some bad news. We gotta do Tikimon skip. But don't worry, you'll get the hang of it. Just make sure you see how Crash is kind of lined up to where he's most likely not going to touch the arch that's up there, or at least close to it. That's kind of what you want to aim for. And then you double jump, and then once you land, you just jump and hold upright. There we go. And if you end up failing Tikimon skip, you could Death Abuse and try again. You'll get the hang of it eventually. And if you fail it once or twice, you could grab that life over there. I'm not exactly sure how you grab it, but I know you can grab it, so there's that. The next thing is we are going to jump onto this antenna. We're going to hit the Iceberg Lab cutscene. Normally, you would skip this cutscene, which saves about 40 seconds or so. But activating it this way, you would actually save, or lose, between 30 and 35 seconds instead of 40. But it is far easier to do it this way than to skip the cutscene. And I think that's a little better for entry-level folk. Yes, we are going to do Cursed Splash. Yes, we are. I will show you I'll show you a setup that I use that works really well for skipping the world checkpoint. The rest of it, we'll just go over that in a tutorial that I will make at a later date. So, this is one of those 1-pixel ledges where you just no input. Simple enough. And then you want to kind of set up the camera to where it's aiming at this white part, this really light part. And then you want to jump and then spin. Don't hold forward, just like jump forward and then just drop and hold spin, or press spin. So then you want to get Crash like over to here and then turn him to the right and then line up his heel with the edge of whatever the hell this thing is. And then you want to hold forward on the D-pad, and once you land, hold up left. I got really lucky there, by the way, because I was really close. I was too far forward and I almost hit the checkpoint trigger. So you want to be further back than that. So if the camera kind of touches that part, stop. And then the camera will snap 180 degrees. Make sure you don't hold anything until the camera snaps. That is extremely important. Okay. So here's another life. You could actually get more lives going for the yellow gem, but I didn't show that. Okay. Anything out from here? If anything goes wrong, just assume that I'm not... This isn't always, like, the right setup or whatever. Oops. I would refer to tutorial rather than this video for Bat Snipe. I messed up Bat Snipe. Let's go again. Like I said, assume that not everything that I am doing is correct. There we go. That is very good to show as well, so I am leaving it in there. Note that on PS2, or on Xbox, it is possible to soft lock with that strat. On PS2, it's not, as far as I know. But also, you cannot do that strat on 60 frames a second, so yeah. Okay. So you want to go backwards over there and then jump into this chunk, and then once you cross this line, you go back into the lab chunk where everything is black. You just slide down here, boom. If you're on PS2, you will need to pause there. And if you're on disc for Xbox. If you're on hard drive like me, doesn't matter. No problem. So, this... Give me 1 second to plug my headset in. It's beeping. So, this, I'm going to do a variation of the twin jump that I do in my runs. So, you do want to try to throw Cortex into here. You don't want to be too far or too close because you see how Cortex just falls really quickly. You want to try to aim a little bit to the left when you throw him. That makes him fall the slowest. The second slowest is when you throw him to the right. He still falls slowly, but I believe turning to the left makes him fall a little bit slower. And then you want to throw him as you're falling rather than as soon as you jump. And you want to try to... Nah, you don't really need to be super accurate with that part. You just want to get Cortex, and then you want to throw him into the camera. You want to line him up by, like, very lightly holding forward. Okay. And then... if he lands too far, if he doesn't land on the purple thing or the camera, then don't even bother. Yep, he's too far down. There we go. Boom. So then you can either do controllable slide jump, like the fastest strats, or you can inch yourself down to the end and then just slide jump. Oops. Didn't give me my slide jump. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. It's not giving me my slide jump. Come on, dude. Come on, give me my slide jump. Give it. There we go. And then you want a long jump over to here. And then boom, warp skip is complete. Alright, now we are in the meat and potatoes. So, we're gonna go back and grab this checkpoint. Now, if you are on PS2, you will have to wait a couple of seconds before you death abuse here. Otherwise, the game will crash. And possibly on disc on Xbox. But on hard drive with Xbox, you don't have to wait. I don't know about OPL. I haven't tested it yet.
This is where we wrong the rights.
So,
Under the rug.
when I went past the world checkpoint and grabbed the first normal checkpoint, I actually crashed the game and I'm not sure how. So what I'm gonna do is I will show you another method of spawning with Cortex by doing the body slam flip. So I'm gonna grab the world checkpoint, and then you go over here onto this rock, and then you want to turn the camera just like this, hold forward and body slam. You should be able to get through. And then you just do that, and then oops. A good thing to do is throw Cortex over to here, because he'll just instantly spawn to you. And then just ignore him. You don't need to care about Cortex here. If you are on PS2, you do need to kill that ant, because it has a tendency to crash the game. Now that long jump you don't have to go for, but it is faster and it's usually pretty easy, so I just went for it. Okay, so there's this life right here that you could grab, and then you're gonna take damage, and then okay, apparently they didn't want to work. Usually, you can jump off of their heads. So, let me death abuse real quick, so I could show you what it actually looks like instead of leaving it like this, because honestly, I really don't agree with not showing this. So generally, you could just do that. If what happened to me before happens to you, don't worry. You just hold up on the right stick, and then you just do a higher double jump. And you could just get out that way. Okay, here's another life. I need to grab this mask. Here's the life. Okay. Okay. Whatever. Let's have Cortex spawn. There is another life. Over there, if you so choose to get it. I would not recommend grabbing that life in that state, but, I mean, it is what it is. You do need to store a long jump here. Okay, this ant's here, so kill him. Then you lure these ants over. Boom. That was good RNG. Okay. Okay. There's another life up here. Now the next room. It doesn't matter where Cortex is in the previous chunk. As long as he's in the previous chunk. It's the same thing with, like the other room. As long as you mimic my death abuses, except for the one where I died in the lava room, that one was just for show. You actually still can prevent the game crash if Cortex is just like way back in the first room. And then just death abuse at the beginning of the second room. It's fine. It's not going to crash the game. Or death abusing instead of the first checkpoint in the second war room, you can death abuse the second checkpoint. It really doesn't matter. As long as you die in each chunk or each room. It doesn't really matter. So like right now, as long as I die in this particular room, the game will not crash. Even the last checkpoint before the door. Now, here I am going to death abuse here, just for the sake of the cycles. But you do not have to death abuse here. Okay. So then, you know, these are just the standard long jumps. I would expect you to stop for these, but, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You could death abuse here instead of the checkpoint I used. I'm gonna try at least catching some of this cycle. Just because. Okay. Now, the next place that we are going to death abuse is going to be at the next checkpoint, but we could realistically death abuse before that point. Now, if you cannot do these controllable slide jumps, because, I mean, they are kind of scary, you can just, you know, jump. You can just jump over them and then slide jump in the corner here. Okay. So, then you want to go here. I'm actually going to death abuse here. That's kind of funny. Okay. No idea where Cortex is. Where did he spawn? Well, that was kind of scary. I mean, even if he spawns and dies, you already hit a checkpoint, so it doesn't really matter all that much. And then you just do the colors. And the colors, like, I mean, it doesn't matter all that much. Okay. Alright, just as a safety measure, we are going to Death Abuse to spawn Cortex here. For a strat that I'm going to show quite soon. Where did Cortex go? Well, he's not dead, so it's fine. Okay. Spin this guy off the edge. Okay. And then we're gonna go out of bounds here, just like the normal strat. Just walk this way, it's okay. Make sure you don't go on to the first square, or at least not too close to it, and then you're gonna jump towards the door here. We're gonna grab the checkpoint. And then we're gonna Death Abuse. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Everything's fine. Don't worry about that. Ignore it. Now you might be wondering why. I'll tell you why. So you're in the final boss, right? So the reason why you do the Death Abuse there is you are able to die. You're able to die. So then you just do the boss fight. Alright. So you want to grab onto the hooks and just hold A and B, or if you're on PS2, X and circle. And then, you know, you could do all the double jumps and whatnot. And the rest of it, I mean, it doesn't really matter all that much. Like, don't assume that how I do the final boss is the fastest way to do it. But I do have a theory about, excuse me? I'm very confused right now. I am extremely confused right now. Hopefully I don't get mecha glitched. I'm not. Okay, don't hit me again, please. You hit me again! Crash, are you okay? So why am I leaving this in the recording? Well, the run's not over. Can you believe this? The run isn't over. Now the run is over. So what have we learned? What we have learned is you throw Cortex before entering the final boss. I mean, there you have it. I don't really need to finish the run, as this is just a showcase and a demonstration. I hope this video is helpful. I will likely upload some more intermediate strats at some point, but just know that, well, we've got it. And hopefully this will help you learn. Like I said, this is a demonstration and not a tutorial. So, whatever. I think this is the funniest end. I don't need to finish the damn run. Just make sure to throw Cortex before you start to run. Or if you die on the final boss. So, there you guys have it.